ocean crew, and we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the monsoon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a lone, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on the full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Play me like a bass guitar, simmer down and mash me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drumming round in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Hold on.
Heard them say our best days pass us by, and most long for a place that they never find. I'm afraid I wake up when I die, and it is too late to climb any mountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you've ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal. I'll feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal.
Hello. Is there anybody? Hello. Okay, that's all good. I'm on my way.
Hello and welcome everybody. We are here for the third round of Formula Rookie here on AOR on PC. Today we are going to race on Sportsland Sugo in Japan. My name is Dominooo. Here's AndrexUK, the Scott, commenting with me, commentating. We are starting soon.
Yeah, this could be another good one. There's a nice little sort of tight track this one tonight, so I believe we've got a little bit of weather happening as well tonight as well, so it's going to throw a little bit of strategic car setups and potential pit stops required for the change from dry to wet, so it's definitely going to be some interesting development as to when people are pitting.
Indeed, we've got rain for the second race. Some information on the track. Sportsland Sugo, a 3.7 kilometer, 2.3 mile track located in Miyagi Prefecture in Japan. Normally we can see Super GT, Superbike, Super Formula and F4 Japanese Championship on that track. Today we've got Formula Rookie, so a bit of other series than you would usually see.
Yeah, it's a track that's it probably suits these Formula Rookie cars quite well. To be fair, it's a little bit technical. It's got a little bit of everything, kind of some slower corners and a little bit more flowing corners as well. So, be interesting to see who kind of comes out. Whether the top drivers from the previous races again are able to stay at the front, or if we've got anybody else challenging at the top spots. Definitely be interesting to see how this qualifying session unfolds, certainly. We shall await some times to come on from the boards. There's just guys leaving the pit lane just now, so we'll keep an eye on them, see how they progress. See if I can find the standings at the moment there, just for where they're currently sitting in terms of the championship.
We've got the standings on screen this time. Sorry for my great Photoshop, but at least we've got them on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's almost 100-point lead for Holy Rookie right now over Szczebrzeszyn Racing, and Tony Clifton seems to have almost a 50-point advantage over Asturbo right now, so pretty much established himself on the first spot in the driver standings.
Yeah, he got a couple of fantastic results last week. I think it was a double win from last week in both races. So yeah, a perfect scenario for him, extending his lead. So he's got a win on race 1, P2 in race 2, and then followed up by two further wins. So almost a perfect clean sweep so far. But yeah, a healthy lead so far. But there's still 4 races, and anything can happen.
Well,
So,
anything can
yeah.
can happen in the second race today. We've got rain, and we have absolutely no idea what can happen in the rain so far, because every race has been dry so far. And I've heard some guys in the voice chat that they said they really some of them said it's pretty easy to drive in rain, but the others said it's kind of hard. So we'll see maybe a bit different result from last time today in the second race.
Yeah,
Had some
indeed.
crash in the background now, but I can't catch it on the camera. So far,
So yeah, so Tony Clifton currently leading a championship, as we said, a healthy lead over As Turbo in second place. But again, he had another superb race last week. Both races coming second, very close behind Tony, in fact, on both races. So he's got a win under his belt, the one win that Tony didn't clinch. And then he's got 2 second places as of last week there. The first race was the 16th, so I'm guessing there was something didn't quite go to plan on that one. Obviously, we weren't covering that race at the time, so to speculate either a DNF or a disconnect, perhaps, maybe. But either way, it's a kind of bad result as far as he's concerned there. Otherwise, that could have put him a lot closer to the championship lead coming into this round. But yeah, I'd say 50 points. It's certainly by no stretch a done deal by Tony there. It's his to lose at this point, so the pressure's kind of on him to convert this to the rest of the season there. Obviously, he doesn't really need to be winning every race at this stage, but and that's obviously a kind of tactical element of this as well. Obviously, he'll want to do as well as possible, but he doesn't have the pressure of having to kind of battle and fight and potentially lose out with a contact somewhere that could throw a horrendous result his way. He can play safe. He can sit behind people. He doesn't have to kind of force his way through the pack so hard. Whereas the other guys are pretty much almost a case of very little to lose at this stage. May as well just try and go all out, charge, just pick up as many places as possible, just to have a slight chance of taking some points away from Tony and closing the gap. So yeah, early minutes of qualifying, just a couple of laps done by each of the drivers there so far. But As Turbo's currently having a provisional pole at the moment there with a 130.8. 0.7 of a second behind him is PBL. I'm not entirely sure PBL is too fast for you.
yes, that's too
So
fast
he's
for you.
currently second. And then very close behind, just a hundredth of a second or so, is Inky Chris. Obviously, we know he's been getting some good results as well. He's got a podium last week in race 1, and then followed up by a P5 as well. I think he was racing with both Tony and As Turbo a lot of the way in that final race as well. So we'll see if he can take the stop, go all out, and see if he can put himself in front of Tony. Run a bit wide on the exit of that corner there. That's probably putting that lap out the question. But watching JJ currently 5th. Just under 1.5 seconds off pole at the moment. There's still plenty of time to improve on these. Might be the first couple of laps are still getting tyre pressures and tyre temperatures up to optimal. I think that's Jack Gaming just came into P5. They just stole it away from JJ there. 1.3 seconds off with a 132. And that's Cameron jumping into P5 as well. And Yogurt has jumped up into P3 underneath that second. As Turbo's actually improved on his lap time because the gap's now 0.8 of a second to Too Fast For You. So both Too Fast For You, Yogurt, Inky Chris, all within 0.8 of a second of Ass Turbo, very close to one another. Doesn't need to improve much to pop themselves into P2. So going back down again to where we were, Jack, P6, JJ was P7 there. I got Ticklish Pickle Wickle there, P8 currently there. Also just about 1.5 seconds off. Followed by Nidalal, currently holding 9th at the moment there. And he's another one of these elect guys. Putting in some good laps here. So we'll see if he can progress through the race or improve on his lap time in the qualifying session that we've got left. And then we've got Robert Dobson.
Maybe that's an abbreviation from his nickname, from his surname.
So he's currently holding 10th, rounding out the top 10. Again, keeping it within that 2-second spread in the top 10. The 132.5. In fact, I think he just dropped down. Somebody's just sneaked up. Who's gone up?
I think it's Big Cliff. He came up to 9th. 30.4.
So yeah, we can see Tony Clifton again. It might just be a kind of, I'm going to take this easy and just bag some decent points. I don't need to push too hard. So he's currently 9th. Obviously, we know he's got pace in the races, so we'd certainly expect him to certainly stay in that top 10, if not try and maybe climb up into the top 5 at least. But perhaps without the pressure on him to have to get good results, he might just be kind of playing the safe strategic game here and just kind of holding off a bit and just trying to convert a small number of points safely and reliably, as opposed to kind of going all out and risking it too much. So Rob's dropped down into 11, and then I think we've got Ferret. I'm guessing it's Ferret in P12. Mr. Ferret there, yep.
Can you see Tony in the standings? I think he was 4th at his best.
Yeah, so is P9. Who's P9?
No, P9 is Bickliffe.
Bickliffe, so where has Tony gone? Has Tony
has he disconnected?
I think he must have done.
Oh, we got someone joined, I think.
He's gone into P2.
Oh,
okay, Tony's just popped and chucked himself right into P2.
15,000 of a second behind us, Turbo. Really close times here.
Super close, and he'll be on another good lap here, I guess. But he's got a car in front of him, and unless he pulls out, he can't really overtake. I think the car ahead was maybe not on a fast lap, so he just let him through there. Good driving.
We've got a really fast question from the chat.
All right.
Crazy Simp 3 asked how old you need to be to race in this category. I think we don't have any age restrictions. So
not as such. We like it to be 16 and over, but there's not really a full-on age cap as such. It's a case of getting involved, signing up, and there will be in a sense an evaluation race. So most of these guys tend to do a practice race on the Tuesday night. They will replicate tonight's settings in terms of the race distance and weather conditions, just so that people have got a kind of feel for the track and kind of can fine-tune their setups, get an idea of kind of strategy involved, feeling, and say fine-tune their car setups. And those Tuesday night races tend to be when we run the evaluation races as well for any new joiners, people joining into the league. So get yourself involved. Make yourself aware to the guys. Sign up on the forums. Sign up for one of the Tuesday night practice session races. It can be treated as an evaluation race. Essentially, as long as you're racing clean, then that's the main thing. That's what we're after. We don't really not care, but we don't mind what your pace is. Somebody's going to be the fastest. Somebody's going to be the slowest. So what we're all about is safe, fair, and respectful racing out on track. If you're a second behind the second last guy, doesn't matter as long as you're not really a danger to anyone. Then that is exactly what we need. That's what we're after. So you don't have to be alien fast. There is only one tier at this stage in this league at the moment for this season. So you can see from the time trials, the qualifying times coming in at the moment that there's a fair spread of ability out there. You're looking at just under 6 seconds between P1 and P20 at the moment. So that should cater for pretty much everybody out there. But yeah, there's always going to be somebody that's the fastest, and there's always going to be somebody that's the slowest. But even if you're the slowest, you can still pick up a good, healthy number of spots as long as you're keeping yourself out of trouble, profiting from other people having issues on track, getting involved in incidents, getting strategy wrong, getting the setup maybe wrong, and having problems throughout the race and dropping back. So I think consistency is always going to be more important than outright single lap pace. It's worked for me for a very long time. I am by far not the fastest out there. I always struggle with qualification. I'm not a one-lap time trial hero by any stretch of the imagination, quite the opposite.
Same for
probably
me.
my worst trait. I tend to come in probably mid-pack, to be honest. But you can drive smart. You just have to drive a bit smarter than other people if you're not quite as quick as them. And that tends to be where I profit from, that knowing when to attack, when not to attack, where to put the car in terms of battling others, and yeah, just bringing the car home in a solid position. I mean, I had a well above expectation season in the GT3 championship that we've just completed there. There's no way I should really be winning a championship on my pace. But just keeping the car clean and bringing these good results home got me the win. So it proves you don't have to be the alien to win these championships.
So
it can be almost a bit soul destroying when you see somebody putting in laps that are just like a second quicker than you. You're going as fast as you can, and they just qualify over a second quicker than you, and you think, what do I have to do? You just have to keep your car clean, keep it out of no damage, out of incidents, facing the right way, and just constantly put your lap times in during the race, and just profit from other people having issues or mistakes.
So we are heading to the
leaderboard.
end of the qualifying session. We still got some people on their laps. Well, that wasn't an exactly quick question, but here we go. We are soon starting the first race. Obviously, still some people running the laps. We saw a spin here, not exactly a spin, a crash into the wall in the background. Right now we've got a pretty close fight for P1. Inky Chris just 0.2 of a second behind Asturbo, and Tony Clifton in P2 still 15,000 of a second. It's also on his outlap. I think Asturbo is still doing one as well. So there can still be some change in our top 3, maybe top 4, but Yogurt is 0.6 behind. So, and Tony Clifton just made the fastest lap, 1:30.4, by far 0.2 quicker than Asturbo, who's still on his lap. So we are still waiting for him, the only one who's still on his lap, and he's now just crossing the line. But he's not gonna improve, and the qualifying session is now over. Tony Clifton takes the pole position today here.
Yeah, and it's a fair run down into turn 1. There's certainly a chance of making a move going into the heavy braking zone of turn 1. As Turbo just coming across the line now to finish the session. Yeah, it could be an interesting one there. It's obviously incredibly close up in those top. The top 4 even is pretty damn close. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that race develops. You can see Inky, Chris and Yogurt obviously teammates there, so they're looking to try and claw back a lot of points that they've missed from the last couple of races there, having not fantastic results Inky with didn't start. He missed the start. I think he disconnected from race 1 last week, as well as Yogurt. So for Inky to be currently holding P4 in the championship and Yogurt in P6 currently, with 2 non-finish results, testament to their pace. So I think there'll be some eyes on those guys trying to push up to the front. But Clifton's pretty much on a roll. He's carrying his fantastic run of results. He's doing exactly what he needs to do, putting himself on pole, giving the best opportunity to take another win and gain further points advantage over the rest of the guys in the championship for sure. Let's just have a quick look at the team championship there. So we've got a Holy Rookie, which is Tony Clifton and JGP. So they've got an 86 gap lead over the team that's in P2 that I'm not going to pronounce. Not doing it. No, sorry. No, not happening. But we've got Angry Alien Boys in P3 at the moment, which is Inky, Chris and Yogurt there. So they're very close to P2. So they'll be looking to try and jump ahead of those guys in the standings. As we count down, they'll be doing their final tweaks to the setup, putting enough fuel in for the race. And the lights are about to go red. We have Tony in P1. Downhill start into turn 1. Red, red, and green. Good start from Tony, but it's actually Inky Chris that looks as if he got a fantastic start there, already challenging for P2 at the moment, and indeed has got past As Turbo and round the outside, and As Turbo hold the inside. He's battling against Yogurt now, so that's a change of position into turn 1. Inky Chris jumping into P2 there. As Turbo managing to hold on to third there. Yogurt not far behind him, and Cameron not far behind Yogurt either. See these guys thread up through the chicane there, up the hill, into the right-hander, double right-hander here, to go back down the hill again there, and that was Jack coming off the track and collecting. I'm not sure who that was there.
I think that's Newcap.
There.
Yeah, no, that's not Newcap.
A bit of a slide coming into the turn. I don't know if the brake
Oh,
balance
that's Stickers Pickle.
Could have been
down to P16.
Okay. Jack Elspan. I'm not sure.
If that was a blue car, then that was possibly Ticklish Pickle, our
Quite
coordinator.
I can see Tony just having the luxury of a little bit of a gap here, whilst Inky, Chris and As Turbo are fighting once again, as they did last week here. As Turbo getting a slightly better run, perhaps a little bit of draft there, coming around the outside up the hill, coming over the crest, back down again, and it's 3 wide. It looks as if Yogurt is managing to jump. He has gotten past Inky. Inky's having to tuck back in behind As Turbo. Yogurt going down the inside, but no, it is As Turbo that wins out on that occasion into turn 1. And they follow back line of stern there. Tony just pulling away a little bit of a gap there whilst these guys battle behind him. So this is again perfect for him. Yogurt running a little bit wide there. And that is a big bounce off the curbing there for As Turbo. He's gone wide and slid in the sand on the exit there. He's going to have to wait for a gap.
And he's losing a lot of time there on the grass.
There. He can go now if he's managed to get out. He is able to get back going again there, but he's dropped to P14 there as he comes back up to this double right-hander again. A massive loss in positions there. Still 17 minutes to gain back up again as much as possible there, but that has freed up Inky, Chris and Yogurt into P2 and 3. I suspect Inky and Yogurt will probably be battling with one another. Looks as if there's a battle for P5 at the moment. JJ and PVL are looking pretty closer right now. They've got a little bit of a gap there. They kind of settled themselves down a bit there, and that was.
And someone's into the wall. And that's too fast for you. He's into the wall.
Dropping on the exit, just the back end slightly stepping out. Can he get it spun round, facing the right way again, get going, without getting in the way of anyone else. He does indeed goes safely across the other side, waiting for that safe place to rejoin again there. It's too wide going over the hill there. That's Paul and Saris coming down the hill there into turn 1 there. Who's going to be the latest late breakers? The green car of Paul comes in and takes P6 there. JJ up ahead there, going around that double right-hander here. I've got a time penalty for Yogurt there by the looks of things there. He dropped off a little bit from his teammate Inky Chris in P2 and 3. 2-second penalty there for Yogurt. And these cars are pretty close to one another, I suspect. It won't hurt them in terms of dropping down to P4. There's a bit of a healthy gap as these three pull away from the rest of the pack. But that could easily stop him from getting ahead of both Inky and Tony, even if he was physically ahead on track. That 2-second gap, we know how close these guys are on track. 2 seconds is quite a big time penalty to have to gain over somebody at these conditions here. We'll see if we can prevent any further time penalties from being added, but yeah, you can't afford to do that too much. See if there's any further battles a little bit further back there.
We've still got Paul fighting with JJ for P5. They have now a little bit of a gap, but they are still pretty close, but that's not currently a very interesting fight.
I think a lot of these guys are just kind of finding their feet and getting themselves settled down. I think their pace is going to come over the next couple of laps or so, where they can find where they can push, and they got comfortable with the cars and following others as well, because these cars have no aerodynamics in terms of downforce for grip. So any disturbed air in front of them is it does have quite an effect, an advantage in the slipstream on the straights. Because these cars are so light, any kind of lack of air resistance being channeled ahead of them will certainly help, but the straights aren't that long that you will have to be very close to one another for that to be close enough to try and make a move. It's generally going to be a case of relying on somebody else making a mistake. You can see Yogurt kind of running very tight on the inside of some of these corners there, running over the rumble strip there, which generally speaking is not too bad. These cars are I think he's going wide there off that rumble strip, and this is what I was going to say. Generally speaking, it's not too bad, but you just need to touch one of those curbs slightly wrong and it just unsettles the car. You end up going wide, and you can see how much he didn't go wide too much, but how much momentum and time that has lost him. Easily dropped him down to P3 there as Yogurt goes through. But he's now 2.5 seconds off Tony Clifton at the moment there just now. So Tony seems to be pretty much just getting the hammer down and going all out and trying to get as much of an early gap as possible there. We know that Yogurt and Inky have got some very, very fast pace between them. So we'll see if they can catch back up again there. See if we can go back to Ask Turbo there, see if he is making roads back up again. He has got back up to P11. I think he dropped down to 13 after he spun there and rejoined. Got a couple of cars not too far away up ahead of him here just now.
Yes, we've got a little train going on here.
There is, yeah.
Leaded by JJ.
Yeah, just coming around that second right-hander there, down the hill again.
Really close behind, probably even 7 cars right here.
Indeed.
After closing the
it looks
train.
like he might actually be on a run here, coming down the hill. I think he got a little bit better exit and that draft. He takes the inside there. I don't think.
Oh, and someone runs wide. I think that's Mr. Ferret running wide.
It is indeed.
And he loses the position to Rob.
He'll be on the inside here, but Astor was not quite close enough to profit from that. He'll be just trying to line himself up there. I suspect he'll probably want to just follow him through this corner and try and line up the long straight and to start-finish straight. A little bit kind of wider entry, opening up the exit a little bit more so he's not having to turn and scrub the speed off. It looks like he's got a tiny little bit extra speed here with channeled with that draft. Mr. Ferret doesn't defend, he stays on the racing line there, and it's Ask Turbo that's making the move up the inside there onto turn 1 on the braking. Mr. Ferret lets him go, he knows his battle, No point fighting somebody that's clearly going to be faster than you and then end up slowing yourselves down, potentially putting yourself in the sights for somebody behind both of you. So that, in my opinion, that's probably a smart thing to do. That's what I would do. That's how I managed to probably gain some of the best results I can. And B Cliff looks as if he's in the pit. P15.
Yes, along with
currently
Atomic.
And Atomic as well. Atomic is in the pits as well.
Well, not going well so far for Atomic. I think he qualified P18, and now he's into the pit and down to P19. We can see his car isn't clearly in the best shape.
Behind him was did not gain when he was out on track, so suspect Atomic must be a lap down already. So
yes, he's 3 minutes behind the leader. I think that's already 2 laps down, and someone's off. Here.
Is that Ticklish Pickle Wickle?
Yes, that's Ticklish Pickle Wickle.
Just dropping it on the exit of that left-hander there. And because there is no downforce on these cars, they're essentially go-karts, souped-up go-karts, pretty much. Because there is no downforce, as soon as you start to go, pretty much just go. It's very difficult to catch a slide in some of these machines. See if we can have a look at the lap times here. It is.
We've got
Chris
Rob.
In fact, no, it's actually Turbo that puts in the fastest lap there, 1:30.8. He is on the move. He's up into P8 now, so again making further positions there. Got past Rob behind him there, and he's got Death Cyrus up ahead here, following him through that chicane. Not making the same mistake this time and going onto that curb on the inside that launched them into there. And yeah, they don't turn very well when they're not got the rubber making contact with the ground. So again, just making that exit as straight as possible there, getting a slight increase on speed on the exit. And again, nobody seems to be defending against Asturbo, just letting them go. You know your battles. You know which ones it's wise to fight and which ones it's not. So yeah, again, clever driving in my opinion by these other guys here. Just let him go, let him perhaps even challenge the cars up ahead of him, and then that may slow them down so that you can catch up on them as well. So yeah, and there's certainly worse people to be following on track than Asturbo. He's clearly got the pace right now. Fastest car on the track right now. Rob lining up there, they're looking as if they're pretty close up in front as well, all going kind of defensive this time. 2 wide coming down that start-finish line into turn 1. Asturbo lurking, just ready to kind of pounce. Goes round the outside of JJ. He's still on the inside to defend, but Asturbo does manage to get that one done round the outside of that double right-hander. Very impressive pass there.
Well, Asturbo's on the run, the only one. Almost every time in the 30s, because Tony Clifton, despite being first, he's doing clearly 31s all the time. Now there's also a 31.4 from Astro, but the last lap was a
mistake there by Paul in front there. He just turned a bit too early there, hitting that
out on grass,
unsettled the car, and did pretty much what Asturbo did earlier, but not quite to the same extent. Did have to go out wide, so that's gifted Asturbo P5. So 2 laps ago he was P13. He has already gained back up into P5. He is an absolute charge. Even with passing people, he was still the fastest car on the track that last lap round.
And that's the touch and Darth Cyrus on the grass? Baffling. No, that's Rob on the grass, but he saved it.
Yeah, very impressive save there. Rob managing to get past JJ there. And TPW just sitting behind these guys as well, taking that wider exit, wider entry.
No, that's not TPW.
Oh, it wasn't. It must be his teammate then.
That's his teammate. That's Darth Cyrus.
Death Cyrus, yeah. And they are battling 2 wide, and they're going to go
that's
3 wide into turn 1 here. Who's going to make it?
Darth Cyrus backing out of the fight.
Boys. Let's keep the contact out of it. Excellent, well done. And again, just Darth just sitting behind these guys, just saying, "Well, I tell you what, guys, you take yourself out, have a mistake
in the wall. That's Paul into the wall.
Slip on by." Paul drops down to P11 after that slide on the exit of the left-hander there, and it's so easily done. They're very kind of light. And there's not, as I say, there's no downforce to kind of stick these cars to the road. It's literally just the weight of the car, and the momentum of these cars do make them inherently slidey. So yeah, you really have to kind of be quite delicate with the corner exit and entry and exit. JG very close to Rob up ahead there, just following in his tracks there again, just waiting for someone to make a mistake there. Some people having issues definitely, so it's sometimes a wiser option to just sit behind somebody and follow. Again, taking a wider line all the way around that final corner there just now. It holds a higher speed, and these cars are obviously kind of underpowered, I guess one would consider, classify them as. So they don't accelerate very well at all. So you have to, it's all about conserving the speed, braking as little as possible, and holding as much speed through the corners as you can. So sometimes that wider line can help. It's a longer way round, but you're keeping that minimum speed a little bit higher. So it means you don't have to accelerate as much when you're coming out the corner. So it didn't seem to quite work on this one. He was getting pretty close in turn one, but not able to convert that right now. Yogurt still very close to the back of Tony Clifton at the moment there.
Inky Chris back 5 seconds, 5 seconds down, and he's in P3 still. But he's backed out of the fight. I don't know what caused the lack of pace in the last few laps.
I'm not sure. That's 32.5 for his last lap round there.
Well, that's still over a second slower than Yogurt and Tony Clifton.
Indeed. And it might even just be a little bit of the pack racing in terms of the following in somebody's draft all the way through. So yes, it will be a little bit of a disadvantage coming through the corners, but it reverses that disadvantage on the straights, so it should hopefully allow you to kind of keep up, and the lap times for both people, the one being followed and the one following, generally are a little bit quicker than anybody just driving solo. So I think we saw Tony Clifton pulling away at the beginning whilst the cars behind him were kind of scrapping for positions, but now that Yogurt's kind of caught up, doesn't quite look as if he's really got the pace to get past him right now, but he's got the pace to kind of keep in his tracks.
Maybe a last minute dive bomb
the grid you go,
in the last
less
laps.
mistakes these guys tend to make, so sitting back and waiting for these guys to make a mistake at that level is not always the best option.
Well, we've got 4 minutes to the end of the race, so that's the time to make an overtake if you want to win. Maybe in the last 1 or 2 laps, but it's 3 minutes, so we've got possibly 2 laps plus this one to go. Maybe 3.
Indeed. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be about 3 laps left to go, including this one. Yogurt still thereabouts, not far away, half a second or so. You see a car up ahead there, he's keeping to the right there, just kind of holding off the racing line there as they come down the start-finish straight. I don't know if he's going to let these guys go through before turn 1. I think he'll get there in plenty of time to not have to let them through quite at this stage yet. But he will want to be moving out of the way. In fact, he does go wide round exit turn 1 there, kind of safely keeping out the way. And that's the kind of driving we're looking for drivers as well. So blue flag, respecting the blue flags, letting the leaders through safely. I don't really need to go off track to do it, but it's about kind of being aware of the situation that there's cars ahead, behind coming through. A bit of a battle here for the P8 there. There's a bit of a train of 4 cars coming through. There's a couple of the Lek boys there, and the green cars, as well as Darth. Just switching positions here for P10, but it looks like P9, P10.
Well, Paul goes down the inside.
Paul takes through the inside.
Darth Cyrus swarmed by the AOR cars. And also Rob behind them, but he kind of lost the pace. He's not fighting with them anymore. Maybe he didn't lose the pace, but it was overall going slower. He's keeping up the pace of Darth Cyrus, but it's not enough to catch up over 5-second gap to them.
Indeed. I'm just looking at As Turbo's lap times as well, because he was previously hitting in 1 minute 30s. He's now in 1:32, so he's got clean air, and I think that's
maybe
going
tire
back
wear
to what I said before in terms of not having a car to follow and chase, and given the slipstream through the lap, is maybe hurting his lap time a little bit. We'll see what he gets at the end of this lap. Perhaps he had a slight half spin. He's not had to battle with any positions because he's still in P5, which he's been in for a couple of laps now. But let's see, the lap times are 1:32.4, so maybe a little bit of tyre wear. But the fuel should be dropping off as well, lightening the car. So it's a bit of a kind of a trade-off. The car's quicker because it's lighter on fuel, but the tyres are wear, so you're getting a little bit less grip. So the lap time should more or less stay fairly even throughout the race. Maybe improve a little bit, depends how hard these cars are on the tyre wear, and I couldn't honestly tell you, to be fair. But, yeah, As Turbo's not hitting the lap times that he was previously, whereas the guys in P1 and P2 are still hitting those low 31s. So Yogurt's still very close here, 30 seconds left. Don't know that they're going to finish this lap.
Oh, and Yogurt is into the wall.
Done what Inky Chris did.
And Inky Chris as well. No, that was a back marker.
No, it was a green car. It wasn't for that position. I think
that was a back marker into the wall.
Way, at the beginning of the lap there,
but Yogurt loses the chance to win the race right now.
The same as what his teammate did 6 or 7 laps ago there, going slightly wide, and it just destroys your momentum. And you can see the massive gap there, 3.5 seconds or so to Tony now. I think that is time ran out, so this is the final lap.
Yes, this is the final lap. Tony now without any issues to win the race, or maybe if he'll hit the wall as well, but we obviously don't wish him something like that. A great race from him, completely clean, almost no fights, leading for a whole race, capitalizing on the fights going on behind him and just keeping the better pace than Yogurt did in the later part of the race.
Yeah, pretty much no one ever really challenging him at all at this stage on this race one. Obviously there's a second race to come in the rain. We'll see if that mixes things up a little bit. But yeah, again, another perfect race for Tony, just coming into the final sector now.
But Yogurt gains time on him. He's now under a 3-second gap.
And then into the final corner, and then it's just a straightaway to take win number 4 out of 5. Yogurt not too far behind, just over 2.5 seconds there. Tony comes out the exit of the final corner there, moves over to his pit crew wall on the right hand side a little bit there, and takes another fantastic win to extend his lead and get a perfect result for race 1. Yogurt brings it home in P2 there. Not sure who that green car was there, sorry, but Inky Chris bringing it home in P3. Strong result for the Alien team there. Hopefully doing as much as they can. I think that'll bump them back into P2. As Turbo does indeed bring it home in P5. JJ is coming across the line P6. We've got Mr. Ferret managing to come into P7 there, not far behind as well. Nidala is bringing it home in P8 with P9.
Oh, and we still have a little fight there.
Very close to one another. It's Paul that takes P9.
No, it's Cyrus who takes P9.
Oh no,
Rob drops to P10.
Paul drops down to P11. And that is what the time penalty can do for you there. Lose you 2 positions.
Well, Rob with a 4-second penalty, so that's clearly a timestamp in those little cars that race pretty close to them. Yeah,
indeed. So yeah, Jack and then Mucat. I think that is in P13 there. Ticklish Pickle brings it home P14. And then Els is
El Spaniel.
Bringing it home in P15 there. And PVL I think is in 16, which is too fast for you. I think he was lap earlier on there. I think that could have been the green car that we were looking at previously.
Jogurk
as
also
well,
with a
so,
4-second penalty. We didn't notice that he still got a 2-second penalty after the first one, but it didn't affect his result. He still finished P2.
Indeed, but it was actually pretty close. It was a couple of seconds back to Inky Chris in the P3 there, but another win for Tony, followed by Jogurk and Inky Chris there. Those were probably the three that would have tipped for the podium there, along with Asturbo. Asturbo having a bit of an incident going off track quite early on in the race, dropping down to 13th, but having a fantastic race to pull it back into a P5 there. Cameron bringing it home in between them all there in P4 with another solid result there. Didn't really get much camera time on Cameron there. Kind of kept himself out of trouble, exactly what he needed to do, and just putting in the decent lap times and bringing him home a fantastic result here. So that's good to see. That's Turbo 5, and I think it was JJ in P6 there as well. So, another fantastic race there, and certainly close racing there. Hopefully the rain might mix things up a little bit there and see if we can get somebody to challenge Tony for a win this time around.
We didn't really notice, but in the meantime, Inky Chris snatched the fastest lap of the race, just over 200 of a second over Asturbo's time, so also we can say great fight for the fastest lap of the race.
Indeed, very close between them all. Indeed.
We have a request in the chat.
Minutes break here whilst they get everything set up for race 2 here.
We have a little request for you, Andrex, in the chat. Look at the chat. Speedy CSR asking you, can you say a little word that he wrote? little entertainment in the break between two races.
So he's shouting for Jogurk. I don't recall if it's his fellow countryman or not, but he was his teammate in a previous race there. So he's obviously shouting for his teammate for the GT3 season that was fairly recently finished there. He says the audio's maybe a little bit quiet from our side here.
Yes, I don't know why is that. I think my game is loud enough. I could probably leave the lobby and change this really quickly, but I don't know if I should risk it.
Andy, can you please say Gula? Well, there you go, Gula. I don't know what the relevance of that is, or what context he's putting that into, but obliged. So yeah, a couple of minutes break, guys, and we will get the grid sorted out for race 2, which will be the reverse grid. So we'll see if Tony is able to charge from the back of the grid up into the front, along with Inky Chris and Jogurk and Asturbo. They're obviously the four that have been putting in the top lap times from race 1. So they're the guys that we would probably expect to pull through and make their way through the grid up to the front end. But it's a wet race. Slower guys up in front. Anything can happen. As mentioned before, Tony's got the luxury of not having to kind of pull back these race wins, and certainly with another one done tonight already, it takes even less pressure, or takes even more pressure off him for the rest of the remaining races. He can just bring it home in a semi-solid result. He's not going to want to do that. Of course, he's always going to want to be at the front and try and take these wins. His full clean sweeps unfortunately got a little blemish from race 2, only getting a P2. But I'm sure he would like to finish the rest of the season off with wins as well. But he could comfortably finish outside the podium for the remainder of the season and still come away with that title. But yeah, it's that risk versus reward. The more points for getting further up the grid against the potential danger of putting yourself at risk of being taken out by another driver when you're trying to overtake people. Any overtake relies on both people, the person overtaking and the person being overtaken, to kind of work in harmony as such. Obviously, we saw in race 1 there, I think a lot of people were, in my opinion, doing the right thing, just kind of letting Turbo go, fighting with the other guys around them, but seeing that Turbo's got the pace and just kind of letting him carry on and get past and out of the way. So kind of not defending in the slightest. Again, not putting either of them at risk. But then when they come across other guys that are of their similar pace, then they are defending, which is great to see some good battling going on there, and see these fast guys, if they're able to get through at the front without any incidents.
So Speedy Go said you do not read that gulag, but goulash.
Oh, gulag.
Gulag.
And goulash, yeah, I know what goulash is. I just don't quite
well,
understand why you wanted me to say it.
well,
I didn't say gulag, I said goulash.
The team name we've got in P2, right? It's a little bit harder. Will make some Polish people struggle with it as well. So it certainly would make an issue for a Scottish person.
Oh, we did. Oh, we like a good goulash. Oh yes.
We've got rain for the second race. Things could get
Indeed.
interesting.
Which is the first wet rain race we've had in this championship. I think it's actually the only one.
I think
Very
we'll also
surprising,
have
because the
rain
last
for
two
one of the
races
races.
are on a British track. I don't know if it's Silverstone or Brands or Alton or Donington or which one it is.
It's Alton Park, Ireland. Well,
if you're to
rain would be obviously a normal thing here.
if you're to put money on any of the races being wet, you would think both of the British ones.
Yes, exactly.
There we go. We've taken a step away from that stereotyping, but
yes, we've got
rain
no
in
rain
Japan.
for British races. That's actually surprising.
And it is actually rain. It's not just light rain. This is proper rain. It's not.
Yes.
There only is light rain and rain, so it's effectively heavy rain. This one. So there'll be the wet tires going on in these things, because I say there's no downforce to keep these to give these guys any grip. We are looking at a grid there just now, but they will form themselves out into the reverse starting order. I believe it's from the standings from the last race. The results of race 1 will reverse the grid.
I think someone joined us. We had 19 people for the last race, and now we've got 20. And I'm not sure who it is.
We can see if we can cycle through them and see if we can pick up anybody that's jumped in. See, I can only see the top 16 there. Phoenix, that'll be the new guy.
Oh, he was in qualifying for the last race. I don't know if he was in the race though. It could be that.
Maybe he dropped. Perhaps he dropped. I don't remember seeing him in a race anyway.
If that could be him, because he was in the qualifying, but I didn't see him in the race. I don't know if even one time, so that's probably him. Maybe disconnection between the race.
So I'm guessing it was maybe disconnect during qualifying, unfortunately for him. So
we are getting ready for the start.
In this race.
And it's lights out, but but we've got no start yet.
There just to give a gap up the middle.
I forgot.
People that will get called
Excuse me.
to get up the front of the grid here.
Obviously, we've got rolling start here. First lap is a formation lap. Obviously, to get people lined up in their positions. I think we've got a reverse top 16, and the remaining 4 guys will be starting as they finish in the first race. First lap
I'm guessing Phoenix will be at the back as well.
Yeah, Phoenix will be starting last, I think.
Indeed. So it might be quite interesting, this one, with Turbo finishing 5th. He'll actually be ahead of Tony, Clifton, Yogurt and Inky Chris. And he had a very similar pace to those guys, so with them actually starting ahead of those other 3 he might have a bit of an opportunity to try and use that to his advantage and kind of try and get through as much traffic as possible. He's got a couple of free positions over the guys behind him, so we'll see how that works out. You can just see the puddles on the inside already there, so I've not driven this track in the wet. I've not driven this track very much at all, to be fair, but
I didn't even drive it one time, so I cannot really say anything.
I don't know where these puddles will be forming up, but Too Fast for You is just creeping around whilst they form up the rest of the grid. I would like to probably see him maybe stop around about on this hill, perhaps.
It should
just to allow
stop
everybody
at
to
the end
kinda
of
catch
Sector
up.
1, so it's not here yet.
Oh, okay.
I think I would learn over a year that the first lap is the formation lap, and I still didn't. But yeah, we've got pretty slow form up. We've got a little...
No, normally it wouldn't be that slow if it was a normal
Well,
kind
that's
of rolling
rain,
start
obviously.
where it's working from the qualifying positions.
Yeah, but obviously we've
because
got
they're still
rain, maybe
forming
that's
up, there's
why
still
so
people
slow.
on the grid. So yeah, hopefully we'll see the guys up at the front end pretty much just slowing down to a stop there, which it looks like pretty much are now.
If Afterboy is as
Turbo
quick in the rain as in the dry, then he could possibly rain over that race really easily, starting in front of Tony Clifton. But it's only 4 positions, but it's 2 rows, so that could be an advantage, obviously.
Yeah, I think that could be. It depends how the first couple of laps go in terms of how quickly you can try and get through these positions up ahead of him. But everybody's certainly moving there. They're just being held at the top of this hill. Once everybody is formed up into their positions, they will start moving again. Then I think it'll probably be at Sector 3, beginning of Sector 3, that they will then go 2 wide. I see Kiss just coming through here, currently P19 there.
Well, a formation lap in conditions like this obviously not helping, since we have pretty much got 1 sector to really warm up your tires, and tires that are cold in conditions like this obviously won't help. So lap 1 could be a little bit of a carnage. Well, not only the tires, but the conditions aren't really good.
As well as brakes as well, so you'll have to. The brakes you can warm up to a good temperature, just by holding a bit of brake down as well as the accelerator, just to kind of get some temperatures in the brakes. But it wouldn't be enough for that heat to transfer from the brakes into the tires to get any real temperature out of those. The formation lap itself is slow. It's coming through quite a lot of standing water, so those tires will be incredibly cold. They've just come from a dry race, so that's what they're used to. So braking zones, they won't be hugely different because they won't be quite carrying as much speed, outright top speed.
Well, there was
the
little
drives and
practice in
slicks.
the rain before the race, obviously off camera. The guys were practicing the rain, but obviously a 20-minute dry race pretty much made them forget a little bit what they've done before.
So they're just working their way back up the hill here. They'll go over this crest here. You can see the pit entry lane just on the right hand side there. And just go over the brow of this crest. They're all nicely 2x2. There's a couple of stragglers just catching up at the back end there. It won't make too much of a difference because there'll be so much braking going into
We are
turn
go
1,
already.
It is go, 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 and it actually looks as if
El Spaniel had a great start here.
did get a good start there. Round the outside there, it looks as if he is.
And he is into first place.
Now, also with the wet, the racing line might be slightly different compared to the normal dry racing line because of the amount of rubber on track can make it very, very greasy in the wet. Let's see if we can find out. Asturbo's made a position or 2 already there. They're checking up ahead. There's
little pile up there.
A bit of a mess of one of the corners. It doesn't look as if it's been any contacts. All nice and clean so far. You can see that orange car just towards the back of that group there, which is Asturbo. See if he can make any advances on the rest of the pack here. He's currently P13. but it's actually Yogurt that is pushing ahead. He's up and jumped up into P11. You can just see the front of those two yellow cars there. That's Inky not just up ahead there. As Tony's just playing safe there, just getting an idea of where he can brake. Probably not trying to challenge too hard at this stage of the race there yet. Now,
Well, too fast for you already with a 1 second gap over Mucat.
indeed, adapting to the wet
Decent
conditions
first
very
lap
well
from
there.
him so far.
Indeed, coming through the final corner here onto the start-finish straight up the hill. See if we can keep an eye. Dar, I'm not sure who Dar is, but he's just dropped back a long way, probably
That's
towards the back
Darth
end of the field
Cyrus.
there now.
Yes, that Darth
yeah,
Cyrus, and
Darth.
he, I think, spun, but we didn't catch it on the camera, so not really sure.
Didn't quite see it, but I saw him drop down the order there. Inky Chris jumping up into P11 there just now. Yogurt's up into P9. He's gotten past Cameron. He's coming down into turn 1 here. Inky's not far behind him now as well. He's managing to get up to P11 there. Cameron's managed to get back past through ahead of Yogurt there. That's somebody spun off there on the outside. He's pretty safe there, but gonna need to get going again and catch back up again.
That's Jack
Not actually
Game,
moving it.
one of the
Jack-
faster guys
Jack
actually.
Game.
And he's still standing. I think something's wrong.
It certainly appears that he's having some issues. Don't know if they're technical problems with the wheel or
I
what's
think
going on there,
that
but
could
he
be
is
a
not
connection
moving.
issue, and he's out of the race.
Indeed, having to retire from the lack of movement there. So that's a shame to lose Jack so early on in this race
Well,
there just
a
now.
big hit for Championship Racing. P2 in the championship could be very much affected by that DNF here.
I think he already had lost P2 after a second and third from the Alien Racing boys.
Oh, could be, but we
Yeah.
don't have the standings updated yet, and I'm not really good at maths, so
Not
I
as
cannot
yet,
really
no,
count
but there were only about 8 points difference, I think, coming into this race, and with Yogurt and Inky bringing in P2 and 3, I can pretty much guarantee they must have jumped ahead of them on the standings.
Well, we've got a great fight going on here.
Ticklish
TPW up to
Pickle is getting
P2,
the hammer down.
and he's challenging too fast for you for P1 now down the start finish straight.
Is he close enough to have a look? He's not moving to the inside as if to have a look, so I think he's just going to play safe again. Follow him through that. He obviously seems to be quicker there. In fact, yeah, he was just under 2 seconds quicker that lap than the PBL and currently leading the race there, so there's plenty of time for him to get through.
Well, on the
But he doesn't
provisional
wait
third
too
position,
long,
we've
that
got
there's
Mucat.
potentially other cars catching up from behind as well, so if he can try and get past as soon as possible and then pull away and make a gap, then that's exactly what he wants to do.
Well, P3 is Mucat, obviously a very surprising result, we could say. Mucat on the controller, probably one of the best guys here
Mucat, yeah.
with that controller in hand. And in the race, in the rain, I mean. So that's
Indeed,
another
you've got
condition
JG
making
right
make
behind
it
him
hard.
there. Mucat looks to go a little bit defensive there. And indeed, Ticklish Pickle takes the lead going up the inside into that right hander at the bottom of the hill there. JG and Mucat both going side by side. It's actually JG that has gained, and he has jumped past both of them here. And he has taken P2 now, and
Well, too fast for you,
Mucat
down
has
to
followed as
P4.
well, too fast in this one lap. In fact, probably about half a lap really, has dropped from P1 down to P4. But probably still quite happy sitting there in a P4 at this stage. Just letting these guys scrap out in front of them and just keep the car clean. That's the priority at this stage. Picking up damage, having to pit for repairs is essentially a race over situation. So yeah, it's knowing when to fight and when not to fight's a big part of it. You can see him sliding around these corners here as he throws it into turn 1. It looks very dramatic, but losing the tractions, I don't know whether that's a lack of tyre temperatures or obviously a lack of aero, but they do look very kind of slidey and be scrubbing off a lot of speed any time you're going sideways.
We got Tony Clifton up to
Yogurt
P7
is
at the
in
moment,
pit.
and Inky Chris up to P8, while Yogurt is down on P16 in the pit lane, along with El Espanol.
Indeed.
And
Tony Clifton currently 14th at the moment. By the looks of
Tony
things. Oh, no, he's not. He
Clifton?
must be 9th.
No, that's Big Cliff. That's
Yeah,
not Tony
Big
Clifton.
Cliff,
Tony Clifton
sorry,
is
yeah, Big
P7
Cliff,
at the
sorry, yeah.
moment.
Tony Clifton's actually
Fighting with Inky Chris really close to each other, but
P9.
seems like Tony Clifton had a better run of this corner, resulting in a better speed in the straight line, but still a little bit down to the top positions. Only 7 seconds behind the leader, but it's a big amount of time we can say in those cars that, as you could expect, they'll go pretty slowly. But he's fighting with Inky Chris here, still on his back, a little closer now. He could challenge him probably in the first corner.
See how this goes. So Yogurt is still in that pit, so I think that is a retirement from Yogurt essentially there. Shouldn't be taking that amount of time for any
he's
repairs
still
to be done. So
pitting.
I think he has.
It's not yet
well, at the moment,
not yet
he's
a
probably just sitting
retirement.
there getting a very wet bum, filling the car up with water at the moment.
Could be.
Chris Picklewickle is not out of the woods at this stage yet. JJ is not far behind. In fact, there's a couple of cars that are still in contention at this stage here.
Well, we lost 4 cars since the start already.
Indeed, we've dropped 2. We've got Jack Game that
And it's
dropped
another
earlier on
one.
there, and Yogurt that are out.
Yogurt is out. We've got 15 cars already. 5 cars taken by the rain.
Indeed, catching a lot of people out here, unfortunately. Still plenty of time there, just over half an hour left in this race. See if we can. In fact, Tony Clifton has just got up to P6 now. He's just, in fact, Inky Chris has followed him through, but Tony Clifton has gotten past Inky Chris. In fact, oh, he was behind.
No, he was in front of him. They are still pretty close, but it's Inky who was behind them.
Okay. Oh, and Tony goes slidey.
Well, we saw some crashes in that corner already, so we hope not to lose another one of those drivers in that corner.
Very
We also
slippery
have
coming
Paul
through all this rain
following
there.
him after following them after losing his P6. So that's
Check the
a
lap
little
times of those
train.
guys, see how they're getting on there. They are faster than the leaders, but in fact they're now back down into 44s. They're 43s in the last lap. Obviously, as rain comes down, so the track gets wetter and wetter as the race progresses. There's no real kind of. I don't think there's.
And JJ goes wide.
Dry line as JJ goes wide from P2.
And he loses his position to Mukat as well.
To sneak up the inside and take that freebie position. See how much they're sliding in these wet conditions. Trying to be as delicate as possible.
And now PVL goes
steering
around the outside of JJ. He blocks a bit, the move a bit. He could have another chance at the end of the straight if he gets a good run out of this corner. But so far we see a little bit of a slide from him.
Rejoin back on the track and having lost a bit of momentum coming up the hill. It increases any lost speed. But see if you can have a look on the outside. It'd be a brave person that goes around the outside here.
We have Cameron following them. Could capitalize on that run wide here from Too Fast For You. We still cannot get used to those Bedger nicknames.
With one another, they're going to be slowing each other up, and JJ is able to connect.
Cameron went wide on the grass and lost the position after all. He couldn't overtake Too Fast For You. And now Tony Clifton and Inky Chris coming close to them, as well Paul. And we could have possible even 4 wide here on the straight.
Between Tony and is that Cameron?
Cameron's just in front of them. That's correct.
They're going wide.
They're going 3 wide into the start-finish straight. Also Cameron in front of them.
Chris on the
But Paul backs out.
Cameron, I think that is there. trying to follow Tony as much as best as he can.
And that's 3 wide into the first turn.
It goes pretty much 3 wide into that turn 1. Cameron just kind of backing out, letting these two go. But he's now potentially under threat from Paul right behind him now. So Tony and Inky gain up another position there. Now P5 and P6. See if they have got the pace to get up further up towards the front end. There's still plenty of time there, 28 minutes. So you're probably looking at the best part of probably about I'd say about 14-15 laps or so. Thereabouts anyway. So plenty of time. Looking at the lap times there, it is Ticklish Pickle Wickle that is still fastest car on track right now there, 44.6. Mewcat, which is falling behind.
I would say that's
45.6.
unexpected from him.
So a second slower than Ticklish Pickle Wickle up in the head, so he's gained a little bit of gap. Obviously they were involved in that little scrap as they were kind of all fighting over P2 there as well.
Well, Ticklish Pickle Wickle, we could say he loves those slower cars. In season 15 of our GT3 league, he has Tier 2, he won the Nordschleife race with a Ginetta, obviously probably the slowest car out of the GT3 ones. So here could be another result like that. Obviously here we've got playing field, obviously everyone in the same car, but he still keeps on his pace. But now we see a few people going faster than him.
Wickle's in a low 45, but Inky Chris has jumped into P4 with a fantastic move there, round the outside there, and it's actually Tony has dropped a position, so he's dropped behind, I think, the PBL, too fast for you, and it's look at the contact
Oh,
behind.
and Cameron goes wide as well. Paul goes into the wall and onto grass.
Over. I don't know if he was unaware that Cameron was still there. It looked to be drifted out a little bit wide when there was a car on his outside. He wasn't fully ahead of him at that point there, so
I think he has damage, struggling with the car a bit.
Indeed.
You can see now.
So Inky Chris up into P4, Tony Clifton not far behind. There's a little bit of a gap there, to be fair, and P5. See if Mewcat can get going again at the lap times there, but JJ is a 44.4, so just a little bit over half a second quicker than Ticklish Pickle Wickle. Inky Chris and Tony also in the low 44s as well, so they're showing that they do seem to have the pace to knock some time out of the leader right now. Currently 7 seconds behind the leader for Inky Chris right now. And if he's knocking over about half a second a lap, then yeah, well that's about 14 sort of laps or so to get them back up to challenge for the lead, without taking into account that there are a couple of other cars that he needs to get past as well. So if they make life difficult and defend against him, which they're perfectly entitled to do, of course, then that might make it very hard for Inky and Tony to get through at the front. But another pitter, Paul, is gone into pits from P10. I think that was from that contact we just saw earlier on.
Yep, that could be just for damage.
So obviously enough damage to make it viable to go in and pit.
Well, that was a hard hit into the wall.
Yeah, potentially put new tyres on there. I'm not sure what a tyre wear is like in the rain. Certainly wouldn't be worth changing it for no reason. But if you're going into pits anyway, then potentially it might be a case where putting on some new tyres as well might help out. You never know. Might be able to get going and
hold down to last place
once it comes back out again. See, it looks as if it's close for P2 at the moment there between Mewcat and JJ. JJ putting in a faster lap time.
And he's through. He's in front of Mewcat now.
Taking P2 there on that corner. I don't know if Mewcat went a little bit wide there, but
could be lost over a second already.
Through, no problem.
He's still losing time, now a second behind JJ, and Inky Chris is also catching up to him. Obviously,
Indeed.
Just behind him, Tony Clifton, the championship leader.
You can see a little bit of steering inputs from Inky Chris there, which Mewcat doesn't have that luxury of really being able to put in that fine control, fine steering control, because he's on his pad. So it's almost a case of kind of full steering or no steering, and it's got to toggle between the two, which does put extra tyre wear, because there's a lot more sliding going on, and understeer and then oversteer and understeer and oversteer. So it's very impressive that he is able to still hold a podium position at this time right now.
Give this man a wheel.
Indeed. Yeah, I think it's time to go and see if you can pick up something, and
Inky Chris just behind him right now. He could attack him into that corner.
Pull him here at this stage. Maybe trying to line up a good exit for the next corner, and get a run down the hill. He's got to get better exit on that one, but it's this one that you want a good exit on.
I'm not sure if that's tyre wear kicking in, but Mucat is losing his pace, it seems. Last lap was a 47.
That was a flash of lights from Mucat there. The tail light looked as if it kind of went off and on, and I think he has indeed essentially signalled to Inky to say, on you go, I'm not going to fight you, just go up the inside, take the position. So Inky up into podium position now, P3, sights certainly set on JJ, not far up ahead, just a little bit over a second or so gap between these two guys.
Well,
I suspect Tony Clifton is probably not going to be too far behind Mucat, and I would be very surprised if Mucat doesn't offer the same courtesy to Tony.
Well,
as
if
he did
Mucat can
Chris,
finish in the top 5, that's a
as if there was
great
a little
result.
bit of a flash of the tail light there. And
Yep.
indeed, there it goes.
He's probably
So
going to let him
not going
through.
to fight. He's just going to stay on the racing line and allow Tony to go up the inside, I suspect.
I think
As long
not
as
yet.
Tony's
They
aware
are.
of this, he does
Oh, and
pull
he's
out.
braking now. Yes.
Mucat puts the brakes on a little bit earlier and just lets him take the position there.
Well, if Mucat can keep this top 5 as he is now in the last spot of the top 5, that's still a great result for someone that's really at a disadvantage playing on a controller.
Fantastic driving.
But Cameron is not too far behind him, so it could be hard to keep it up.
Let's see what we can do. Any more chat there? Jack Games joined the chat there. Nice to see you in here, but we'd rather see you on the track there. But unfortunately, I don't know if he has explained what happened on that one. Unfortunately, let's see.
I think his engine blew off.
Oh,
That's interesting.
really? Wow.
Well, Ticklish Pickle is still in the first place with a 3-second gap from quite a lot of time. We are now almost halfway into the race, and it seems like he can still pretty much keep that gap and that pace. He's doing mid 45s at the moment. Tony Clifton down into the 33s, so he could catch up. Obviously, still half of the race to go, but so far it's a great drive from Ticklish.
Doing
we wouldn't
exactly what he needs to
expect
do.
that.
Just managed to work his way up into the lead. I think it was within the first 5 or 6 laps or so, and pull out a bit of a gap. And 45.2 for Ticklish and a 44.2 for JJ. So JJ on the move as well at 43.7.
It's 43.7 for Inky.
So Inky taking about a second and a half out of Ticklish Picklewickle's time here.
And he's almost just on the tail of JJ at the moment.
Indeed. Climbing over that curbing on the inside there. We saw what happened to Inky Chris on race 1 there as the as Turbo, sorry, as he clouted that curbing on the inside, but perhaps the wet tyres give him a little bit more grip, even though it is wet out there. So does Inky have enough time to catch up on and get past JJ and then fight for the lead and try and take a win?
Inky now going a little bit wide here, taking a wider line.
Right behind him.
And he could go for a move here,
fight at this stage,
but JJ closes the door.
and can challenge on the start-finish straight.
Well, JJ they defended really well. He isn't going to let him through so easily like Mukat did, it seems. But Inky Chris could just ended up with a good run through the through the start finish straight, for example. But JJ still keeps closing the doors all the time, and possibly every corner Inky gets an occasion to overtake him. But now he gets a better run on the start finish straight, goes to the racing line, and I think he could try to outbrake JJ. But I think it's
too wide.
not still the time to pass him. No, he's through.
Forcing Inky on the outside.
So he's through for P2.
The outside on the double right-hander there into turn 1 and 2. Fantastic move from Inky there. And he's now got his sights squarely set on Inky Chris. Ticklish Pickle up ahead. And plenty enough time to do it if he's doing it over a second a lap quicker. Indeed, another mid 45 for Ticklish Pickle there, and a 43.9 for Inky Chris.
Well, over 1.5 seconds faster, and the gap is 3 seconds. So Ticklish Pickle has to be ready for a challenge that comes in the form of a really quick driver just on his tail.
Indeed. So yeah, that's probably 3, 4, 5 laps or so. He made fairly short work of JJ actually being able to catch up on him. I thought that was going to have a little bit more of a battle between these two guys.
He's in front of JJ now into the last position on the podium.
Indeed.
Chasing down Inky Chris, possibly with almost 3 times better lap in the last lap.
Perhaps he's been conserving his tyres a little bit through this first half of the race, and maybe he's got a little bit more grip than Inky has. Got Atomic in the pit at the moment there. It looks like he's been in for quite some time.
Well, Mukat really dropping down now with 37.
Unfortunately.
Oh, Atomic's retiring from the race.
No, he's going again.
Oh yeah, he is going. Mukat possibly dropping down from his 5th position, doing over last lap of his was 35, but the previous lap was over 2 seconds slower from Cameron, and now they pretty much have the same pace, but Cameron could still catch up to him. No threat for him. Rob is a little bit of a period of time behind him.
Indeed. Again, Inky Chris knocking about half a second off on that previous lap there. Tony Clifton again still a little bit quicker than Inky Chris on that last lap as well. So yeah, it could be an interesting finish, or certainly a battle. But if Ticklish Pickle does defend his lead,
well, Inky Chris slowing down a bit,
slows Inky Chris down from being able to get past, then that is going to give Tony the opportunity to catch right back up again.
Well, both Inky Chris and Tony Clifton slowed down on the last lap. They both did a 44, but it's still over a half a second faster than Ticklish Pickle does. So
Indeed.
it's still enough to keep up with him and possibly overtake him in a few laps. Now Inky Chris can see his tail
between Inky and Tony right now. So if he's just doing 2/10 of a lap quicker each lap, then that's another 4 or 5 laps now be on him, depending on how quickly Inky can catch and pass Ticklish Pickle. Don't want it make it sound like a foregone conclusion, but we would certainly expect Inky to be catching and getting past Ticklish Pickle. And again, it might be a case where Ticklish is just happy to kind of maybe pull this home in 3rd and not get in the way of these guys, just let them go, avoid a risk, recognise that at the pace they're doing just now, it's almost impossible for him to keep the lead. So it might be better to control the pass and let them through safely, rather than potentially get tangled up and throw away a P3. So we'll see how that transpires. But Inky and Tony back into the 43s. They were only 43s on the laps on the track last lap around. Interestingly, no penalties this time around from any of the drivers there now. Obviously, the track limits are a little bit more lenient in the wet, but good to see that that's not hopefully going to take anybody's positions away.
Well, no penalties yet.
Nice and clean. So only half a second behind Ticklish Picklewickle at the moment there, as TPW is coming up behind the back marker.
Yeah, I think that's Atomic.
Up ahead.
No, it's not Atomic. Well, Enki Chris 3 times behind, just on his tail.
Looks like he got a good run out of that corner as
that
well.
will be the lap to catch
TPW up there as they come up the hill. Any small amount of an increase in top speed that these cars will have is pretty massive. Ticklish sliding it around into turn 1 there, just missing the apex there. The back marker just getting nicely out of the way there. Going on the grass, not entirely needed to go completely off track there, but I felt it was obviously the safest thing to do. And we can see how close Inky Chris is behind Ticklish Picklewickle now.
Tony Clifton just behind
Tony
them,
Clifton
watching the fight.
Using this and is gaining on the guys ahead. He was a second behind Inky Chris previously. He's knocked that down to about 8/10 of a second. So is Inky going to have a look on the inside here? Ticklish Picklewickle does not look as if he's defending.
He's
He should
catching
be
time,
over
he's
before now
going
if he
fast
was.
on the straight.
I think he's just letting him through here. Inky inherits the lead, takes the inside line, gets it slowed down, holds a tighter inside line, is through into the lead. I suspect Ticklish Picklewickle will probably offer the same to Tony Clifton as well.
Well, he doesn't have to, that's not a blue flag, but certainly would be nice for the fight.
See if Tony can indeed catch up a bit here. Ticklish Picklewickle just trying to use as much of an advantage and gain the draft off Inky at the moment as well, and why not? But Tony is effectively getting pretty much a double draft here. We've seen people going too wide before.
And Ticklish Picklewickle is challenging Inky for the position
Ticklish
again,
is
going down the outside.
having a go. He is in the lead, but he's around the outside there. Inky holding a very nice, safe inside line.
Well, better line from
Pickle
Ticklish.
on the outside there. Inky keeps a hold of P1.
And now
but
TPW down the
Picklewickle
inside, he
back
could
up
take the
inside,
position
and
now.
The left-hander has to avoid the puddle on the left-hand side there, pulls it in there, and there's two wide there. It's going to be slowing themselves down there. Tony Clifton is going to be right behind these guys there. Ticklish Picklewickle having to lift off there, and coming up the hill. That lift off might be a pretty big disadvantage there just now. Tony's not too close to take advantage of it, as he gets a good exit coming out of this corner here in the draft.
Well, that made Tony Clifton catch up to them. They are now pretty much in the same distance, all three.
Indeed. Be very close. Perhaps I was wrong that Ticklish Picklewickle is not defending it and looking to fight for it. He didn't defend on the first attack by Inky Chris there, but he wasn't holding back by having a look around the outside in turn 1 and 2 there. So yeah, he's not giving up. See how Tony manages this long right-hander. TPW going quite wide there.
I think that's a free position for Tony Clifton right now.
I think at this stage there, because he'll slid out to the outside and understeered there, we've taken a fair bit of speed off. But he does have a little bit of slipstream from Inky Chris ahead of him that Tony does not. They are side by side as they cross the line there. And Tony on the inside line, is Ticklish going to defend? Well, he holds it around the outside there, as if to say, I'm not just going to donate this position to you. But
Yeah, but Tony is now
and clean on
through.
that double right-hander again. So now, target acquired.
TPW
P1,
going a bit wide in that
Chris.
corner.
Can he catch and pass? Under 10 minutes to go. It's probably going to be about 7 laps or so. So 7 laps. And I think TPW will probably be quite happy with a P3, but if these guys want to scrap and take each other out again and gift him a position or two, then he won't need to ask him twice. That's for sure. JJ only 5 seconds behind the leader at the moment there just now. He's 3.5 seconds behind Ticklish Picklewurtle right now. Lap time's quite considerably quicker. There's a high 44 as opposed to these guys in the 45s right now up ahead. So JJ kind of having a bit of a hurry on now to see if he can catch up with Ticklish Picklewurtle. See if he can take away that final step of the podium there. Ticklish going wide again on the exit. I don't know if that is intentional or not, to be fair. Everyone else seems to be holding a slightly tighter line. I don't know if they're taking a wider entry into the corner.
A 4-way fight for the win would be interesting. But so far, Ticklish Picklewurtle loses a bit of time on this lap to the 2 leading cars. And indeed. I think that's the time for Tony Clifton really to catch up to Inky after he's done with a little bit slower TPW. But Inky had a 3/10 better lap last time around. Indeed, so we will see if it's possible for Tony to catch up in the rain.
Considerably there, he's just around about 3/4 of a second behind. A nice smooth line through that chicane there. He's hitting those apexes pretty much perfectly. Going over that apex there and on the exit as well, just touching that rumble strip. Slightly wider entry into that corner that Inky does on that lap certainly. And he will be within this sort of draft pocket, so to speak, here as he comes down the hill there within that 1 second window. So yeah, again holding a nice tight line through that right-hander there. Both cars taking that left-hander quite nicely. TPW giving a little bit of sideways just for the fun. Again, JJ about 1/2 second quicker than Ticklish Picklewurtle on that last lap. We'll see what it's like on this time around. But Tony is probably about as close now as he has ever been to Inky Chris right now, so we'll see this lap time. I suspect Tony will be the one that has the faster lap time this time around. 43.8.
43.1, a stunning lap from Tony.
Definitely, I'm pretty certain that following another car and letting them punch a hole through the air in front of them is making a fair bit of difference to the lap times, to be fair. So it is relatively easy to kind of catch up on somebody if you can get it within that 1 second gap.
Well, that's the fastest lap of the race, and I think it will be hard to beat it unless Inky gets behind Tony and gets the slipstream out of him, and maybe that's even a better lap.
So catching somebody is one thing, but actually getting past and overtaking, we've seen these guys battle tooth and nail last week. Very hard, fair racing, which was great to see on both races last week. As they come down this hill into this long right-hander again here. Both looking as if they're pretty much matching each other here. I suspect the lap times this time around is probably going to be fairly close. We've got Kiss in the pits as well right now. I didn't catch when that happened.
Well, Atomic as well. They're both.
As if that is another retirement from the race there. So it looks as if we're down to 13 drivers or 13 survivors, I guess, for race 2. The rain seems to be claiming further victims. Tony getting another decent exit there on that one. He's definitely as close as he's closer than he was last time around. So perhaps it is going to be a little bit quicker for Tony's lap time this time around as well. Again.
Well, 5 minutes to go.
Next to nothing in it.
It's time to really get that fight
Chris going defensive, taking the inside lane. You can see Ticklish Picklewurtle still in the background there. He's not too far behind. And then JJ does still. They pretty much matched lap times between JJ and Ticklish Picklewickle there in that last lap time around there. So, yeah, if that remains the same, then Ticklish is looking good for a podium at this stage. There's still just over 4 minutes left to go.
Well, it doesn't seem like JJ will catch him up with those similar lap times. So
No,
Ticklish
indeed, and then
Picklewickle can
again,
probably already
Inky
enjoy the
Chris
taste
going
of his
wide there
podium.
on the X of that one. I don't think it'll hand him a time penalty in any way, but you can certainly see that sliding has compromised his speed coming down the hill there. Tony is able to catch a little bit there on that run down the hill there, sliding on the brakes there. It's getting a little bit kind of back and forth in terms of this gap here there, so we're looking at a gap here of just over half a second right now. But Tony seems to be strong through this section here. And seems to be able to kind of catch back onto the back of Inky on that start-finish straight here. So we'll see if that catches up on this lap again, but it looks as if Inky's had a stronger lap this time around.
Well, they are both in the 34s at the moment, but it seems like Inky was actually faster on this lap rather than the previous one, at least comparing to Tony.
Indeed.
And it's another those are another two 44s, but Inky over 4 times faster on that last lap.
We've got Robin P7's doing it in mid 44, matching the leader's pace right now there as well. He's
Well, he's fighting with Newcat
right
for
behind Newcat there,
P6
so
right now.
Newcat looks as if he's under threat. I think it's going to be about 2 laps left to go in this race here. Can
I've got
Newcat
3
hold
minutes.
on to a P6 there?
And it's 6
coming down
wide.
the straight here.
3 wide, not 6 wide.
He's defending. Oh,
I think that was a
Looks as if
back
he
marker
cut across
actually.
there, I think.
Yeah, he let them through.
got through.
I think that was
Yeah.
Big Cliff possibly. No, it was either Atomic or Kiss.
Oh, indeed, they both have got out of the pits again there, so
Newcat getting a little
Yeah.
bit of a slide here. Oh, and he
Oh,
almost loses it.
careful.
Goes on the grass, but he still continues to
Managed to
drive,
catch
luckily.
Ticklish with 45.5 and JG with a 45 flat there. So again, at that rate, JG is definitely not going to be catching Ticklish. So looking very good for a podium position for Ticklish. I suspect he will be very happy with that, to be fair. A solid racer, and it is fantastic to see him getting a good result here. Looks as if that is a back marker up ahead of him. Coming into the final lap there by the looks of things now there, so see if we can jump back to Inky Chris and Tony Clifton. Clifton is not quite close enough, certainly not anywhere near close enough to challenge Inky at this stage of the lap there just now, so I suspect if Inky can just keep it clean, keep it facing the right direction, he is in the money seat here for taking a win away from Tony. Sliding it as they come around the exit of that left-hander, going up the hill again there, struggling for traction through that chicane there. That'll be flat out, I'm pretty certain. Into this double right-hander here before they go back down the hill there. Inky Chris taking a little bit more of the inside curb there than Tony. Tony does look as if he's having a little bit of a tidier lap on this one, but he needs to pull out something rather extraordinary at this stage unless Inky makes a mistake up ahead. Coming down the hill here for the final time into this fairly tight right-hander as this drunk cameraman struggles to find where the cars are. There they are. Inky Chris coming through the final couple of left-handers now. Tony not really close enough to challenge there. It's very sliding sideways through that final left-hander. On to the final corner there, Inky with a wide entry.
And we are now out of time. That's 40 minutes of racing, and I think that's a win for Inky.
Just a final straight there, up the hill
lead.
and then back down and over the line. And our race 6 winner is indeed Inky Chris. I suspect he will be very happy with that one. Very closely followed by Tony Clifton there. So fantastic racing by those guys. Again, Tony Clifton coming from all the way from the back of the pack.
And Ticklish in P3, that's a great result today from him.
Fantastic result for Ticklish. It's great to see. JJ does indeed bring it home in P4 with Cameron in P5. Another quiet
Rob
race for Cameron,
in P6.
quietly pulling in the good results.
And Mewcat losing the fight for
Rob
P6, he's
Mewcat.
coming home in P7.
Indeed. We've got Too Fast For You, Poland 8th at the moment, crossing the line. And then Mr. Ferret coming home 9th, and Nadala rounding out the top 10. And then B Cliff finally coming around our final corner here, missing a nose cone. A little bit of weight shredding going on there.
Yes, he is. That looks quite funny on that car.
Indeed, you can see the inner workings of the front end of the car.
Looks like a Bugatti with that missing front cone. But
and the rest of the guys have already been lapped and crossed the line. So Inky Chris is the race 2 winner for tonight. Tony Clifton beaten out on a double win there, but I suspect he will again be super happy with another P2 finish there. Tickler Pickle Wickle, fantastic result P3. JJ, Cameron and Rob in the 4th, 5th and 6th. Mewcat, everyone's favourite pad driver, bringing it home in 7th. We've got Too Fast For You and Mr. Ferret and Need a Lap in the top 10. Outside the top 10, we have B Cliff bringing in a woman in the 11th. Darth Cyrus not having a fantastic race on this one, I don't think, didn't quite go to plan. Bringing it home in a very reasonable P12 at the moment. 13th goes to Paul, one of the Bedura teammates there. Kiss does indeed recover after a long pit stop earlier on to bring it home in 14th. Comic also does indeed finish in P15 after his pit as well. Both Yogurt and Ast Turbo had retired. I didn't catch when Ast Turbo retired. Did I?
Well, obviously a very sad sight to see two of the championship contenders, even if not contenders, the very fast drivers out of the race. For Yogurt, he is P6, but Asturbo P2, obviously losing a lot of points here today.
Indeed. But again, another superbly strong result for Tony Clifton there. We do have some guys up ahead in the Ready for Interview channel, so we'll see if we can grab a hold of one or two of those guys. We will see if we can maybe have a quick wee chat to Atomic first off, because they had a fantastic race and a fantastic recovery race in race 1. So we'll bring him in first, have a quick wee chat to him, see how he felt tonight.
Hello, Atomic. Not very good 2 races today from you.
No, a bit of a tough one. I normally like Sugo, but yeah, the car just didn't agree with me today.
I think it's one of the curbs on the inside that certainly didn't agree with you in race 1 that kind of managed to get you a little bit of air time and drop you off the track, and it drops you back to 13th, I think, at the worst point. But a pretty fantastic recovery drive, to be fair, in race 1.
Yeah, not. Yeah, the curbs. I mean, even in the dry, the curbs don't like these things, but especially in the wet, bloody hell, spins right around.
Yeah. So what happened in the race 2 there? So it was obviously retired. I don't know if I caught that during the race or not. What was the issue there?
No, it wasn't a retirement. I think you're looking at someone else there. But
was I? Oh, yeah, it was.
No. But just.
No, that's terrible. Sorry. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. No, just had some bad luck and made a few mistakes. Ended up in the wall. I think I had to pit twice. I think.
Ouch.
So yeah, ended up 15th, I think, in that one, which was a bit of a shame.
Not ideal, but still enjoyable racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see where you are in the championship. Quickly coming into tonight.
It's P14 at the moment, 29 points.
14 sounds about right.
He's just shy 2 points, so I think he didn't have a very good race as well, but could catch you up after today.
Yeah, there's quite a
Potentially,
few
yeah.
quite close to one another there. So a good result next week with the 2 races next week could potentially see you jump up the ladder a little bit there for you.
Hopefully, home Grand Prix next week at
Indeed,
Alton
no
Park.
advantage.
So yeah,
Excellent. Good stuff.
fingers crossed for a good result.
Indeed, indeed. Excellent. Okay, we will put you back in your box, and we'll see if we can have a chat to someone else. But thank you very much.
Cheers,
Thank you
guys.
for the interview.
Let's see if we can bring in Ticklish Pickle Pickle. It'd be great to have him in for a quick wee chat.
So Ticklish, great second race from you. Obviously, great result, P3 in the rain, leading for most part of the race. How do you feel after a bit of a fight with Inky and Tony, and probably a pressure from them for a long time?
Well, first impression is that we should have reversed the whole grid instead of just the top 16, because then I would have won. But no, I mean, I don't really think I could get much more out of the car than I did, and I didn't really feel like, because I mean, they just left me the 2 aliens, so it's not easy being born on planet Earth, you know. So, yeah, I just decided to let them through, but I think I got the most out of the race, and I'm quite satisfied with the 3rd place.
Yeah, you've got to be happy with a P3 there, and as you say there, I guess from probably about the middle of the race when you saw that Inky and Tony were probably making their way through the field, you'd have seen them in the standings, kind of catching up a bit. Was it a case of like, well, it was kind of fun while it lasted. We'll see what happens, but I'm not going to fight these guys. I'll just let them through and see if I can just bring this home in a solid P3.
Oh yeah, I mean that was pretty much spot on actually. I mean, it wasn't like a big sigh of disappointment or anything, but it was like, I mean, I knew that they were faster, and I could kind of see from the relative board how quick they were catching me. So I was like, I mean, obviously I was still gonna drive the car to the best of my abilities, but I
Sure.
wasn't gonna like try and defend overly aggressively or anything. I was just, if they got a good run on me, and then I would just more or less let them through. So
Yep.
yeah, that was kind of the whole thought process, and I was kind of I was kind of expecting to get down to the P3 and just hold it from there. But yeah, still totally satisfied with it, to be honest.
Excellent. Good stuff. Fantastic. But enjoyed the racing. It was good fun out there. Everybody seemed to be pretty clean out there. I didn't really see much problems in terms of contact.
Oh yeah,
I guess the rain was probably challenging enough. You didn't want to be catching up with and getting tangled with other people as well as having to fight the rain as well.
yeah, that's pretty much spot on as well. I mean, the racing is, I mean, as they always are with these affiliates, they're always close. And I mean, it wasn't like, you know, Inky Chris and Clifton wasn't like leaving me or anything, but
No.
I mean, I was like semi catching up with them, I guess. But
Well, I saw you kind of semi-fighting back again after you let Inky through, coming down the hill. And then into turn 1, it was a case where he'd managed to kind of catch back up a little bit and have a look round the outside and have forcing Inky to go defensive against you, to be fair. So it was, yeah, it was good to see you kind of still. I'm still here. I'm not just going to roll over. I'll let you through, but I'm not just going to shrink away and disappear. So yeah, no, that's fantastic. Good stuff.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was trying to fight as long as I could, and I think I got a couple of good runs, so that was at
Definitely.
least a little bit of fun.
No, a fantastic result and very much well deserved. Good to see you up on the podium there, mate.
Well, what do you
Yeah,
expect
thank
from the next round, Alton Park? No rain, maybe not lucky for you, because it seems like in those cars you feel in the wet, more like a fish in the sea. But what do you expect after the next round? Do you perhaps plan for another podium?
I mean, I hope to obviously do as good as I can, but I mean, Alton Park is a little bit of a, it's kind of reverse of what Sugo is. It's sort of twisty, it's very bumpy, and it's not that wide. I think most places you can only really go too wide in these cars. And yeah, and all the elevation changes and all the bumpiness, it's definitely going to be a completely different challenge. And to be honest, I don't really know what I expect because I haven't really done this kind of track in this car. So I'm just gonna have to take it as it comes to me and see how it goes. But obviously, I hope to do as good as I possibly can.
No, I certainly look forward to seeing that, and all the best and good luck to you.
Thank
We
you very
shall
much.
say good night to you for the time being, and we'll see if we can maybe. But thanks for your time. Yeah, and we will look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you for the
Yeah.
interview.
See you guys.
So we've got
Mr. Inky Chris, our race winner for race 2.
Hello.
Pretty much perfect race. Second time around for tonight.
Yeah, not too bad. It's finally got my win for this season, which is
Indeed, yeah.
always nice.
Good to see.
Yes.
In the wet as well.
Yeah,
a
well,
bit
if it's
more of a
going to happen,
challenge.
I like to think it would have been in the wet. I kind of think myself as a bit of a
The Rainmeister.
a wet weather driver. It's a good excuse given that most of the races are in the dry. So.
Yeah, I would have expected the British races to be the ones that are going to be in the wet.
Yeah.
But there we go. That's just a bit of a reverse weather going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a fantastic race for race 2 for you there. Obviously, a teammate didn't fare quite so well.
Yeah, that's
on
really
race
sad.
2
I
there.
just drove past the pits one lap, saw him. I was like, is he pitting or is he stationary? And then obviously driving past him lap after lap, I was like, I think he's probably retired.
Done. Done.
Which is very unfortunate. I think he got caught up with Asturbo or something. They both fell foul to the vast amounts of damage that you get from
They
sometimes
do seem to
very
pick up.
little.
Well, they both retired.
Compact.
They're pretty fragile machines for sure.
Well, apparently Asturbo got like 100% engine damage from the incident.
Oh, okay. We saw him in chat saying about his engine blew up. So yeah, that's. I was trying to figure out how that could have happened. So the fact that there was contact,
maybe radiator or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a pretty decent kind of haul of points for tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Gets you back up towards the front end, but I think we're probably at this stage looking at requiring some DNFs from Tony.
Oh wow, yeah, I think so.
And his relentless charge on the championship season so far.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of written that one off. Just try and make these races as entertaining as possible, to be honest.
Well, I guess that's really what it's all about, fun racing.
That one definitely goes up there along with last week's.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, it's great fun.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, and I think you may have jumped into P2 in a team challenge.
Oh, cool.
I think.
Well, we dropped down to it. I think I'm not sure whether we.
I think you were third coming into tonight, and then after race 1, you've definitely gone up second. I don't know after Yogurt's DNF how much the other guys pulled in after that, but with a win from you, then I think it'd be hard for the other guys to be picking up enough points to jump back ahead of you.
Yeah,
so still on the line for next week.
Yeah, definitely.
A battle for. Again, I think that's going to be a battle for P2 in the championship one there as well.
Yeah, definitely worth fighting for.
Yeah, looking good.
I'm looking forward to Alton Park. I'm not sure how much sway I had because there was talk of changing the circuit from a DLC track, and
I was originally, yeah, that's right.
I pinged Ticklish, and I was like, Alton Park, and then changed to Alton Park. I was like, yes.
Well, sometimes
it's great for these cars. So.
Yeah. No, indeed, it's a bit more of a technical track.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a lot thinner in terms of not not many places will be sort of 3 wide like you can get down the straightaway here.
It's not quite as forgiving for those little moments that you have
No.
around other circuits.
So certainly with
quite
the
a lot of fun.
reverse grid, I think the overtaking might be a bit more of a challenge and a bit more entertaining. So
Yes, that is true.
certainly be looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, well, there are plenty of good braking zones in there, I think. Hopefully.
Indeed.
So yes,
Excellent.
very exciting.
Okay. Well, we shall call it a night with you there for
Awesome.
just now, and send you back into your
into the
channel.
box.
You're back in your box.
Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thank you. Hope it was fun.
Cheers, Chris.
All right, cheers.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. There is a couple of other guys in the Ready for Interview channel. There's Cameron and Rob. We'll see if next week we can try and get as many people in for a little chat afterwards, just to kind of get a kind of overview of their entire season, not just the final race, just to get people's thoughts of a kind of a whole overview of the entire championship.
Oh, that's already a bit of a stretch. 5 interviews is a bit much, so I think we are done for tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Great bit of racing here. Also, interesting second race, the first and the only one race with rain today. Sadly, I think we lack a bit of those rainy races in all of the Project CARS leagues. But well, I mean, I could propose something, but I'm not exactly the one to decide.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the coordinators obviously kind of put their heads together and creating race calendars and the weather conditions and all the other aspects of the league racing. So it's something that they kind of pretty much put a vote to what sort of weather conditions. There's generally a couple of sort of main coordinators that run a particular series of leagues, like these filler leagues. So they will kind of propose a calendar to start with, and then they'll get the input from the other coordinators and say that might pick up on something and say, oh, you don't want to do this track, or you don't want this weather, or you do want this weather. You kind of mix things up a bit and change things and fine tune the season. So everything that gets discussed.
Well, I kind of had a vote proposing up Sugo and Dubai. They both got added to the calendar, so if someone had a bad race on both of those racetracks, they can blame me, probably.
We'll give them your direct messaging. Yep. But yes, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. As Dominooo mentioned, thank you all for anyone watching that's still here as well. And if anybody is sitting here watching and thinks that they might like to be part of it, then get yourself active on the ApexOnlineRacing.com. Get yourself onto the forum, sign up, try and get you into a evaluation race, probably on the Tuesday prior to race day, Wednesday. And as long as that goes through without any issues, then it could be yourself that we're watching on Wednesday next week as well.
Well, as they say, the more the merrier. We've got 10 spots left, pretty much 20 people today in the race, so we'd love to see some more of you racing today. Today, next week.
Yeah. But yes, I think we'll call it a night there, guys. Tune in the same time next week for the final race of this championship, as mentioned at Alton Park there. And we will see if Tony hasn't already clinched the title. I'm not sure. I can't really do that maths in my head. It's possible he may have already won. I'm not sure, but he will be looking to definitely complete that next week and continue to pull in some fantastic results and racing, as will everybody else as well. So, yeah, join us same time next week, and we will see you there.
Night.